Oh, yes. Ah, it's so good. It's so good. I am streaming for the first time on my Mac. Oh man, I'm so happy, but without holding you, let's get into it. So, David the Ring here with another show, and what I wanted to talk to you about today is the intersection of my solo traveling and my car missions. So, yesterday I put on a show about something that I enjoy doing when I travel. Besides people watching, I like to car watch. I like to see what other countries have in their market that we don't have here, and the other way around. And I like to be knowledgeable about other vehicles that we don't have here. I like to see other vehicles in other places before we get them, etc. For example, off the top of my head, before the Hyundai Genesis came to America, I saw it years ago in Korea. So that was pretty cool. When I finally saw it here, I knew what it was. What else? So I'm sure there's many examples of that. Also, is it's an American product, but I saw it overseas first. Before America had if you're not a car person, you're not gonna really know. But I'm just making a point. Before we had like the small Ford Transit vans, those were in Europe for a long time. The small like cargo vans, and you can tell like because in Europe and Asia they use kind of like smaller vehicles, and I remember seeing that out the country first. So it was pretty cool to be out, and even if it's American brand, to see things outside before we see them here. And also, Ford has other type of vehicles that we don't have here, and it's still American brand. So you'll get the point that car companies kind of service their own base. They give their base what they want. That's like the first time I went to Houston, and some fast food had like, I don't know, stuff that we don't have here. I forgot if it was like some McDonald's and Wendy's or something like that. So you do see different things when you travel. That's the point. So that's what my video was about. And today I want to talk about kind of like the beginning, the genesis, no pun intended, of traveling solo but car searching. So it's 2019. So about 10 or 11 years ago, I had this very great idea. It was to go out the country and try to find certain vehicles. And why I was doing this. So I may have mentioned it in the other video, but my father is a mechanic, was a mechanic, and he sold all type of cars. So part of what he was doing uh, throughout my years of growing up, he was selling to people as well as exporting vehicles to his home country, Haiti. And you know, I noticed that as time went on, he had to go further and further. So we're from New York. He would go to New Jersey, which is fine. New Jersey's next door. Then he would have to go to PA, and then he would have to go to Ohio, and then sometime he would have to drive vehicles to Miami or Florida for it to be shipped. So long story short, as time went on, I just saw that it became harder to get these certain vehicles. Now, the problem was is the vehicles that people were looking for were kind of like older Japanese vehicles, some 4x4, some pickups that people can use because in Haiti it's very hilly, it has a lot of mountains, and you really need 4x4 uh, to be able to pull yourself up the hill. Like it's not easy. Just something happened to me personally for the first time about a week or 2 weeks ago. I went to PA and I was in the Bethlehem areas, close to like Allentown, Pennsylvania, Eastern Pennsylvania, that area. And I went up the highest hill I think that I ever went up. And I have a Honda, front wheel drives, 5 speed. And so I went up the hill, and it looked crazy as I was going up, but I had the momentum. I was going up. I made it all the way to the top. The problem was that at the top there was a stop sign, and you have to stop because if you pass the stop sign, someone could just hit you from the side either way. So you have to stop. So I did. And mind you, I'm on the incline was crazy. So I was trying to catch the first gear and my car kept rolling back. It would not take it. Like it was just that crazy of a hill. So I just backed up slowly and it was like I don't know if it was I forgot if it was the F-150 pickup. And as I backed up, you could see him shifting in his four by putting his 4x4 on so that once he get to the top of the hill, he can like pass the stop sign. It was the weirdest, like it was the weirdest hill I ever seen. It was crazy. Long story short, that's why people have 4x4 in other places like the Caribbean. Uh, they need to get up the hills sometimes when it's raining as well, and also the roads aren't too well in a lot of places, so they want 4x4. Long story short, there you go. So as time went on, as an entrepreneur, I was like, man, I see the trend that's going on. He has to go further and further. The type of vehicles, the older the vehicle, there's less inventory because, uh, it's been a while. So whether they got destroyed or whether people shipped those already, the inventory is getting lower and lower. So, as an entrepreneur, your goal is to kind of find solutions for your problem, pretty much, or to address problems, you find solutions, pretty much. And I said, man, why don't I go to the source? Like he wants these old Japanese vehicles. Why don't I go straight to the source? And that's exactly what happened. The first time I went to Japan was in '08. And I really did not have any plans. I really, really didn't have any plans. Yeah, Japan was the first place. Then I went to Korea after. So I, I, I headed out. I head out on this 14-hour flight in '08 by myself, and I didn't have any plans of what I was gonna do or how I was gonna find these vehicles. I was just so naive and just figure, okay, once I get there, I'll see what I want all over the place, and people can point me in the right direction. So I get there, didn't know where I was gonna stay, didn't know where I was gonna find the vehicles. Just went out there, and I was gonna figure it out. And that that form of traveling kind of lasted like my whole traveling career, like not knowing what's gonna happen and just go with the flow and just kind of the adventure of it all. It would unfold however it's gonna unfold. So I go out there, and I won't go too much in detail because this is in my book. But pretty much, I go out there and I just see that. Well, excuse me, I just saw that all of the vehicles like were late model within the past 5 years, like late model things that I didn't see anything that from what I was looking for. And people could not tell me because I kept asking people for like junkyards or like places where they sell older vehicles. Because when you get to Tokyo, there's nothing old, and it's a clean place. And so I already knew the mission was a bus because I didn't see one vehicle that looked old. I was like, cool, maybe I'm gonna have to go somewhere else. And people were telling me that what I was looking for, they shipped to another part of Japan, away from Tokyo, and they ship all the older vehicles. And then all the people were telling me that they kind of sell those cars to other places in Asia, like Thailand, Indonesia, Vietnam, etc. Like places where I guess they don't care as much as you know quality, air quality, the air quality. So I guess they just sell off their stuff over there. So I was like, man, what do I do now? So I just enjoyed the trip, and I was like, man, so Japan is not the place. They're sending it to other places. So guess what? After Japan, I went like the same year I went to Korea because I came back to I told my father, man, everything in Japan is like brand new. I came back to him, do you think people would like Korean vehicles? Because more and more people were using Korean vehicles. So, did they change their mind? Could that be the thing? So I went out to Korea, same thing. I didn't have a lot planned or anything. I think Obama was about to be president, or he just became president when I went. But I think he was. I think he just became president a couple months in when I went to Korea. Same thing. Didn't know where I was gonna stay, etc., etc. The only difference is I I found someone who owned like a clothing store, and they told me that their brother, sold cars, and that they can take me to where diesel Korean vehicles are and stuff like that. But they would have to drive me for hours, and I didn't have that much time. So, needless to say, I wasn't able to go far away, and I was like, I don't know if I should be going that far hours away. Like literally, you would have to leave in the morning and go over. I didn't know how I felt about that. Plus, I didn't have that much time to spend all that time going far out, and then them showing me the wrong thing, and then I have to come back hours like I wasn't with it. So that was that. I took the gentleman's phone number, and you know, whatever the case may be, same thing. Repeat. I went to Hong Kong. I was like, man, Hong Kong was like Japan, and I'm like, man, Hong Kong is like Japan. Very beautiful, tall buildings like New York City. But I got further in Hong Kong because someone told me the area to look, and I walked miles. Like I took a train to like the last stop, and I walked very far, and I was getting happy because I actually did find, you know, some Japanese vehicles and whatnot. And this time it was like people from I think it was like gentlemen from like Egypt, I think. And they had, Japanese products, and I got the information, and I remember bringing it back to my father, and he was saying, what did he say? How are we gonna bring it back? I'm like, yo, this is something we could figure out, once, we can get in contact with them, see what they have, see where they can find stuff, and then we go from there. Let me put these on real quick. So, sorry, my eyes. So I was happy, but it's like he was just he just put up like a wall right there. So I think after that trip, I kind of like stopped checking for those things for a little bit, and then years later, when I went to the Philippines with him, somehow we ended up looking, and we found some of the things we were looking for all those years before, but they were so expensive. Also, before my trip to the Philippines, when I went to Thailand with my boy Keith, we too found places full of motors and diesel stuff and Japanese stuff, the things that we were looking for all those many years before. But by that time, I was kind of like discouraged because I'm like, okay, I found this, but my father it doesn't seem like he's motivated or whatever the case may be. So that's kind of where it died. But when I look back, I'm laughing about how I just took a leap to go to these places. Not a lot of information, and I just took off and I went, and that became part of my trip. That it wasn't all that I did. I did all the tourist stuff as far as going around, enjoying myself, and a lot of that is going to be in the book. But obviously, this was the driving force or the reason that I took some of these trips in the beginning of my traveling journey a decade ago, and it makes for a hell of a story. And I could just laugh about it now. And what I was so naive, but I love the energy of just going for what you want to do and making adjustments when you get there. I'm that type of person. Like I have to just jump out and then I have to figure it out. I'm very resourceful, and I I I see what I have and I try to make something out of it. And I'll end it on this. I don't want this video to be too long, but that's like I'm saying, that's what type of person I am. Very resourceful. And that's just the whole entrepreneurial thing. And it's also the fact that my family come from poor places and you just learn to adapt and just use what you have to make a difference. Case in point, I'll leave you with this. So last year or a year and a half ago, whatever the case may be, I forget exactly, my van got stolen, right? In New Jersey. So they stole my van. Didn't think I was ever going to see it again. But maybe, so I realized that it was stolen on a Saturday. Sunday came around. Monday came around. I was going to buy a replacement vehicle so I could use it for my business. While I'm looking for a replacement vehicle, and I bought like this Tahoe, I received the call that, hey, we found your vehicle. So pretty much from Saturday to Monday, my vehicle was found. So long story short, I still bought the vehicle because I didn't know what condition my van was in. You know, when they tell you they found, you don't know the condition. So I had to go to one place in New Jersey and pay and get it and have papers faxed, and then I had to go so far out in the Newark, New Jersey area, like on the outskirts, very far, to retrieve my vehicle. So I paid like $300 to get it out. I was completely pissed because I'm paying for what somebody else did, right? Paying this money to get it out, and also every day your vehicle's in the impound, they charge you. Now, the report said they found the vehicle the Saturday. So that person stole it maybe, let's say they stole it like 4 o'clock in the morning. The cops found it that same day. Instead of them calling me that they found it, you know, they let a couple days go so the impound can make money, and they can make money as well. I'm gonna get to the part where I'm resourceful right now. So I finally paid the $300. It's a big yard of cars, thousands of cars all over the place. So the people at the impound, they're driving me around because they know the section that they parked your car, you know, inside this huge thousands of cars, whatever case may be. So I get to the vehicle, the hood is popped open. Or maybe I open the hood. One of the two. I think I open the hood. Popped open the hood. My battery is gone, and the battery terminals, the wires to the battery is cut completely. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I look under, the muffler is like cut, because that's what they really stole the van for, the catalytic converter, because it has platinum inside of it, and you know they can get money from that. So that's what they really took it for. They cut that, took a few things in the inside, nothing crazy, but catalytic converter, and the battery is what they stole it for. I'm like, petty stuff. That petty stuff cost me money to fix the muffler, to get it out of impound. Then I went to the office of that impound and I said, "Hey, do you guys have a battery? So I can like get my van out?" Obviously, they're like, "No, you know, they deal with stolen vehicles. They don't have no battery to give you. That's not what they're trying to do." So I'm in like survivor mode or whatever the case may be. I'm just thinking about what I have to do. I have no battery, no terminal to put the battery if I even had one, right? And my ignition was gone. So, you can't just stick your key in it. The ignition, they popped it out. I'm just in like survivor mode. Like, okay, what I have to do, because if I had my vehicle there another day, I'm gonna get charged, as well as they kept rushing me like, yo, we're gonna close in like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I'm just thinking about what I have to do. One of the things I started to do was I had the straps that I use for my moving service to kind of like wrench up the muffler so it wouldn't drag while I'm driving. I'm in New Jersey and I was driving into Brooklyn. So I use my ratchet to lift the muffler. Like I said, it's gonna be loud, but at least it won't drag and mess up. Like I can get something like, let's just say an adapter or a pipe, put the muffler together. I'm good. So that's that. Take care of that. Then I'm like, man, obviously I need a battery. So okay, they wouldn't give it to me. They said the junkyard is down the road. I bargained with the junkyard. They gave me one for $40. Came back. Now I got a battery. I have no terminals. Survivor mode kicks in again. So I look in my van and I find some wires that I have that I can use. So I cut pieces of the terminal to get down to the copper wiring. And then I mix the wire together, and then both of them, the negative and positive, put it on the battery. And then one of the gentlemen from the impound gave me a flat screwdriver, and I was able to stick that in the cylinder and turn it, and the van started. And I got my van out of there quickly. I parked my car on the outside of the impound. I asked them if it was okay, and I drove my van all the way to New York. Then I had to circle back and come back and get my car. I think I think I took the bus, and then Uber brought me closer to get the thing back. But the point I'm trying to make is I had to make a way out of no way. And I'm so happy um, with all the stupid things that I've done in the past, because it just kind of helped me think on my feet. And that's from having parents that come from a poor place. It comes from being in New York, and one day somebody gets you or you get them. That mentality, and just being an entrepreneur, just trying to find a way to make things happen. And I was so proud. Like when I got the van to start, in those moments, I'm thinking, what would somebody else have done? Like a friend or people that I know, like what they would have been stuck. Like, but I was able to get myself out of that because I was just using my head, and I was trying to, because the pressure was on. They kept driving by telling me that you got to get your vehicle out of here. And I wasn't going to let it stay another day. I just had to use my head. I just had to find wiring. There were times when I even thought, man, there's so many cars in this impound that I'm about to take somebody's battery, and put it in my van. But I didn't have tools, um, so I couldn't really do that. I think they stole my tools or whatever I had in the van. So had I had tools, somebody's battery would have been mine. It's crazy, but like I had to do what I had to do that day, you know, to get out. And then maybe I would have left a note or something like that, and then come help them out when they plan to move. Because sometimes I was gonna take it from cars with big accidents that they can't drive it anymore. You know what I mean? So they would have like crushed the car or whatever the case may be. So that's why I would have went, not some fine vehicle, and I would have got it. But that was this situation. So I just kind of wanted to bring that into the start of traveling, mission, looking for cars, and just trying to be resourceful, um, even if there's no plan. Like dealing what's in front of you, seeing what you could do to make things happen. So that's another show, David Durang. I'm over and I'm out. Please leave a comment on what you thought about this, and I'll come back later.